Coming at number 10, we have Kim Kardashian. The theme for the 2022 Met Gala was gilded glamour, and for Kim Kardashian this meant wearing one of Marilyn Monroe's dresses, which happened to be the dress that Marilyn wore when she sang Happy Birthday to President John F. Kennedy. Then later there would be conflicting reports that started to headline the media as they claimed that she damaged the dress that she only wore on the red carpet because it didn't fit her correctly, and then she changed into a replica dress inside the event, which led us all to question why did she have to wear the original to begin with. While Ripley's did claim that the dress was damaged beforehand and Kim never damaged the iconic gown, before and after photos would prove otherwise. Not to mention, she also repeatedly bragged about her weight loss to fit into the garment. In the end, Monroe's fans were extremely upset that the fact Kim used part of the late star's legacy for this, and historic preservationists even were upset that the dress was damaged, and critics of diet culture were angry about Kim's harmful dieting tips. Number 9. Kendall Jenner. It's clear that Kendall is not someone who spends most of her time in the kitchen. During an episode from her family's new TV series, The Kardashians, the star would expose herself after she proved that she's probably never used a knife to cut her own vegetables a day in her life. In a now viral clip, Kendall could be seen in the kitchen wanting to make herself a snack in front of her mother, Kris Jenner, who awkwardly sat there dumbfounded when Kendall attempted to navigate what most can do before they're even a legal adult. At one point, you can even see Kris was concerned for her daughter's fingers when she cautiously watched before saying, "Do you want the chef to make you a snack?" Instead of holding the knife with her dominant hand and the cucumber in her other, the model reached her arm over the knife to grip the opposite side of the vegetable and then proceeded to cut inward, directing the slices to fall towards herself. While most would chuckle at an offer of professional hired chef being called in to simply chop up a cucumber for a 26-year-old woman, after witnessing Kendall attempt to do it on her own, it was pretty sad. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Doja Cat. So do you remember the time when Doja Cat slid into Noah Schnapp's DMs just after season 4 of the hit Netflix series Stranger Things was released? While many of us were crushing on Joseph Quinn, who played Eddie Munson, it appears that Doja Cat wanted to get him before anyone else did, so she decided the best way to do it was to slide into the DMs of Joseph's co-star, Noah Schnapp, to see if Joseph was single, and then proceeded to ask Noah to send her a link on his Instagram. The internet then began to rage as Noah is still considered a child and Doja is a full-grown woman. Noah then responded by sending Doja the link, and then he decided it was too weird, so he read the DMs out loud for his TikTok fans to hear. In the end, Doja Cat would then be furious that Noah decided to expose her and described his actions as him being a borderline snake. Eventually, Noah did have a good laugh and he did apologize to Doja Cat for exposing the video, and then he went on to delete the video. But not before the internet called out Doja Cat for being 29 years old and messaging a 17-year-old. Like, come on Chrissy, just wake up and realize that wasn't okay. Number 7. Adam Levine. Back in September, Adam Levine would be plastered all over the headlines after model Sumner Stroff exposed Adam Levine in a series of shocking TikTok videos. Just shortly after Adam and his wife announced they were expecting their 3rd child. In the videos, Sumner would claim that she and Adam had an affair, and she even provided screenshots of their conversations as proof, so people knew she wasn't lying. In the beginning, Adam would then try to deny the affair, and he took to his Instagram to write a statement which said, "I use poor judgment in speaking with anyone other than my wife in any kind of flirtatious matter. I've not had an affair, nevertheless I crossed the line during a regrettable period of my life." Sumner clearly wasn't happy with Adam's statement, and then she came out with another TikTok video to claim Adam even asked her if it was okay to name his unborn child after her, and she urged for someone to get him a dictionary so he could look up the definition of cheating. Number 6. Ned Fulmer. Adding to the storm of cheating scandals on September 27th, the internet content creators known as the Try Guys would announce that one of the members, who happens to be Ned Fulmer, would be leaving the groups following reports that Ned had an affair with one of his employees, Alex Herring, after a Reddit user shared now deleted screenshots of a video that appeared to feature Ned making out with the Try Guys associate producer at a bar in New York City. As the clip started to circulate around the internet, more videos and photos would also start to circulate of Alex and Ned on dates that looked pretty intimate, and people who posted the images even said they sent them to his wife because they were concerned. This would then force the Try Guys to post a statement which said Ned was no longer working with the Try Guys as a result of a thorough internal review. We do not see a path moving forward together. Soon after the announcement, the Try Guys even switched out their profile picture of all 4 members with the company's official logo across Instagram and Twitter before making an additional video statement clarify that they were blindsided by the news of Ned's behavior. Number 5. Will Smith. At the Oscars on March 27, 2022, Will Smith would show us all that there was something concerning going on with his mental health and state of being as he exposed his darker side. During Chris Rock's speech, he would opt to make an inappropriate joke about Jada Pinkett's shaved head. The joke clearly didn't sit well with Will, as Jada has been suffering from a condition called alopecia. So he took to the stage and smacked Rock across the face. As producers scrambled backstage, Smith would return to his seat and remain there until he accepted his award for Best Actor for his role in the film King Richard. The internet would then start to explode with their opinions on the matter, and while the Smith family mostly stayed offline, well, except for Jada, the Academy would end up banning Will from attending the ceremony for 10 years, though he can still be nominated and win an Oscar. After the ceremony, Will would make an official apology to Chris, and he would then enter into a rehabilitation facility to help him work on his mental health. Number 4. Sydney Sweeney. On August 27, Sydney Sweeney would take to her Instagram to post some images of her mother Lisa's Western-themed 60th birthday celebration, and would expose her family with photos that showed some of the relatives wearing Make America Great Again hats and Blue Lives Matter t-shirts. While the actress did not appear to make any political statements herself, while most people started to go crazy in the actor's comments, one person claiming that the actress exposed her family's political views, another asked why she was kicking it with people wearing Blue Lives Matter merch. Sydney would then later come out to say, "You guys, this is wild. An innocent celebration for my mom's milestone 60th birthday party has turned into an absurd political statement, which was not the intention. Please stop making assumptions. Much love to everyone and happy birthday, Mom." However, you can't really ask your fans to stop making assumptions when there's nothing really to assume, and no matter what the occasion is, it's never okay to wear any of this merchandise items, and each of her family was wearing these because it was a country-themed party. But hate isn't country. Number 3. Kris Jenner. Roughly 6 months after Kanye West's feud with his ex-wife Kim Kardashian started, in September, Kanye would go after the reality TV star, and this time he would drag Kris Jenner into things and confirm that she was really the one who released Kim's tape. After Kanye hopped back onto his platform after months of disappearing, he would share several explosive messages towards Kim, and in the process he would express his disapproval towards Kim's parenting styles, as he accused her of playing games with their 4 children. In Kanye's post, he would also claim that he wanted to take control over his kids in their future by declaring, "My kids are going to Donda, they are not going to Sierra Canyon," foretelling Kris to grab her mother effing popcorn. Things would then take another turn when Kanye started to point out that Kris Jenner encourages her daughters, mainly Kim and Kylie, to appear in adult magazines and release their infamous tapes. As he was scared, Kris would make his own kids participate in the same endeavors in the future. Number 2. Amber Heard. 2022 was a big year for Amber Heard, as it would be the year the star would crash and burn after all of her lies were exposed. While Amber was hoping her dark past wouldn't catch up to her, it certainly did, and when her biggest secret was exposed after she tried to ruin Johnny Depp's career, while Amber was trying to claim that she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. However, during one point of the trial, Amber's lawyer Ben Rottenborn presented his opening statements where he presented a Milani Cosmetics all-in-one correcting kit to the jury and claimed that Amber had used this very concealer and correcting kit to hide and cover her bruises. However, that makeup brand wasn't even out, and it exposed Amber's lies by saying in a statement it couldn't be true because their product wasn't even available until after Amber and Johnny had gotten a divorce. In the statement, Ben said this is what she used. She became very adept at it. Amber and Johnny got divorced in 2016, which was before Milani's Cosmetic even launched that specific product, as it didn't come out until 2017, which means Amber lied. Number 1. Olivia Wilde. For months, the headlines have been filled with an alleged on-set feud between Olivia Wilde and Florence Pugh on set of Olivia's film Don't Worry Darling, and rumors didn't paint Olivia to be as charming or sweet as we were all led to believe in the past. Despite much of the cast attempts to dampen the rumors, the tension between the two were apparently so bad that some crew members even started to claim that they had a screaming match on set. And Olivia's former nanny would even say that apparently in the beginning, Florence and Harry were close and it drove Olivia nuts, and she complained to her fiance, Jason Sudeikis, and then when she left Jason for Harry and kept taking Harry away from set, this drove Florence nuts. And then Olivia got into a feud with Shia LaBeouf before hiring Harry Styles to replace him, and she claimed that she fired Shia to keep Florence safe, but then Shia would release their text messages where you could see Olivia making fun of Florence, and you can also see why Shia quit, because he was done with Olivia's nonsense.
In at number 10, Leighton Meester. You'd never be able to tell by how she carries herself today, but this polished celebrity was actually born in a Texas prison while her mother was serving time for drug smuggling. Though her mother was allowed to spend 12 weeks in a halfway house with newborn Leighton, she was soon sent back to jail. Meester ended up living with her grandmother in Florida until her mother was released. At 10, her family moved to New York so that she could begin a career in modeling, only to then pack up again 4 years later and head to Los Angeles. Once in Hollywood, she began auditioning for various roles while taking acting classes, but she found it difficult to relate to kids her age because of her unstable upbringing, an upbringing that she kept hidden for a very long time. Her breakout acting role was when she portrayed Blair Waldorf on Gossip Girl, a character whose mother was the owner of a fashion empire, which, as you can imagine, was a stark contrast from her actual childhood. Today, though, she was worth an estimated $16 million. In at number 9, Selena Gomez. In typical rumor mill fashion, when singer Selena Gomez decided to cancel part of her world tour in 2013, the gossip magazines did all kinds of speculating as to why. They said she was battling a drug and alcohol addiction and listed a plethora of other unconfirmed conspiracies. The real reason that these types of stories kind of bubble up is because of how secretive celebrities are. Although, can we blame them? I'm sure there are some parts of their life that they just want to keep quiet. And turns out Gomez had been hiding a secret from the world, but it had nothing to do with indulging in addictions. Later on, Selena revealed to Billboard that she had to undergo chemotherapy to treat lupus, a chronic autoimmune disease. She mainly wanted to wait for the right time to talk about it, and when she did, she didn't want to be loud about the whole thing. Selena just wanted to wait so that she could properly use her platform to help spread awareness. In at number 8, Prince. Prince has always been a wild and eccentric character. I mean, in 1993, he literally changed his name to a symbol. If that's not the definition of an enigma, I don't know what is. Although this brilliant musician was hiding a big secret from the world. For his entire life, Prince had been coping with epilepsy, which is a serious medical condition. Although in 2009, he revealed this secret during an interview with PBS. In the interview, Prince told host Tavis Smiley, "I'd never spoken about this before, but I was born epileptic. I used to have seizures when I was young. My mother and father didn't know what to do or how to handle it, but they did the best they could with what little they had." Although Prince said that after a while he was able to keep his condition largely under control. He also noted though that this control over his epilepsy came by way of an angel that spoke to him. In at number 7, Katie Holmes. Just 5 days before Tom Cruise celebrated his 50th birthday, his wife of 5 years, Katie Holmes, filed for divorce in New York. The world was completely shocked by this secret being unearthed. The couple had been spotted together on the set of Oblivion in Iceland just days before, and they were strolling along like nothing was going on. Everything's fine. Don't look at us. Apparently, Holmes orchestrated her escape, if you will, from Cruise very carefully. She set up secret meetings with lawyers and prepared to battle for sole custody of their daughter, Shuri. Now, although the details leading up to this was kept secret, if you were watching the tabloids, one could assume that she was using them to shift the public's perspective. Katie Holmes used the sympathies of the tabloids to convince people that she was just this kind of passive wife of Tom Tom Cruise was a maniac, which is believable, right? The weirdest part was that right after her divorce, she had all of these events set up where there would be people there to photograph her. Normally, following a divorce, you would think that you'd, maybe take some time to yourself, take some time off from work maybe, but no, she just went right to the cover of the August issue of Elle magazine. In at number 6, Caitlyn Jenner. Back in 1971, Jenner participated in their first decathlon, and by 1972, Jenner was competing in the decathlon at the Munich Olympics. At those Olympics, they finished 10th overall in the event, and in 1976, Jenner went on to win the gold in the decathlon at the Montreal Olympics and was declared by the media to be the world's greatest athlete. Jenner was able to accomplish all of this while living with a deep personal secret that wouldn't be shared with the public for, another 40 years? In 2014, Jenner announced that they were divorcing from longtime wife Kris Jenner, and just a year later, Jenner shocked the world when they revealed that they had undergone gender reassignment surgery. At the age of 65, Caitlyn Jenner introduced herself to the world, and by 2015, ESPN had awarded Jenner the Arthur Ashe Courage Award, and to this day, Caitlyn is one of the most prominent public figures to come out as transgender. In at number 5, Lance Armstrong. In 2012, champion cyclist Lance Armstrong denied that he ever relied on performance-enhancing drugs. He referred to the doping allegations against him as outlandish and heinous. However, when the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency revealed compelling evidence, the cyclist's house of lies began to crumble. The agency released about 1,000 pages of evidence in doping allegations against Armstrong and his teammates. This led to him being stripped of 7 Tour de France titles and bronze Olympic medal, plus his secret forced him to step down as chairman of the Livestrong Foundation. Armstrong would later give a detailed account of his doping to Oprah Winfrey in 2013.
I view this situation as one big lie that I repeated a lot of times.
In at number 4, Arnold Schwarzenegger. This secret that Arnold kept ended up being the bombshell that destroyed his marriage. Just 5 days after Arnold's then wife Maria Shriver gave birth to their 4th son in 1997, the couple's housekeeper, Mildred Patricia Baina, also gave birth to a son by the same action star. He kept this child of his a secret until he completed 2 terms as California's governor in 2011. Then he finally confessed his infidelity to Shriver and later the public. All it took was the media identifying the mystery baby mama, and thus the celebrity scandal had been completed. There have always been celebrities that kept their kids out of the public eye, but nothing in terms of what Arnold was able to pull off by keeping this all a secret for so long. Imagine seeing that kid and be like, this kid looks like Arnold's son. Was that Arnold's son? In at number 3, Charlie Sheen. No one has really been attacked in the press like Charlie Sheen has. Not saying he hasn't earned some of his controversies, but let's just say that there are some very shady people in this world. The notorious actor appeared on NBC's Today Show in 2015 to announce that he was HIV positive. Charlie had been diagnosed with HIV 4 years prior and finally revealed his secret after several people actually tried to blackmail him. Allegedly, there were some people threatening to reveal this secret unless he gave them $10 million.
I'm here to admit that I am in fact HIV positive. And I have to put a stop to this onslaught.
If the timeline is 4 years from this interview, then his diagnosis would have come right as this whole controversy with the show 2.5 Men started. The one where he said in a bunch of interviews that he had tiger blood and Adonis DNA. It's no wonder with that much press on him already that he didn't want to also reveal what could even be perceived as a weakness to his health. In at number 2, Drake. This one was a huge reveal because for so long people were just simply speculating on whether or not Drake was dating someone. So when Pusha T released a track with a line directed at Drake that said, "You are hiding a child, let that boy come home, Adonis is your son," everyone that was watching that feud had this jaw-dropping moment when Drake finally revealed his secret son named Adonis. How did Pusha T know this? Drake would later record a song called Emotionless that explained why he had kept his son hidden from the public. He just didn't want to expose his son to the world that would have had their eyes on his every move. And it's understandable, but I believe it baffled people because it wasn't like he was happily married to someone. He appeared to just be this rolling stone that was always rumored to be romantically involved with one celebrity or another. Last but certainly not least, on our number 1 spot, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel. Like many celebrities on this list, JT and JB have had an awful time trying to keep their personal lives out of the public eye. One thing that has certainly helped keep a lot of secrets is, this pandemic pandemic. I mean, if the paparazzi can't come within 6 feet of you and everyone's on lockdown in their homes, the tabloids must be just suffering right now. Although the Daily Mail still found a way to unearth some celebrity secrets when they revealed that Jessica had secretly given birth to a baby boy. The family are thought to be in Big Sky, Montana, where they have been spending time amid the coronavirus pandemic, and both of them have neglected to share any details whatsoever about the pregnancy, so I guess we'll have to check the Daily Mail if you want info on that celebrity secret.
And at number 10, fake relationships. I think at this point it's clear that most Hollywood relationships are faked for PR. Occasionally these fake relationships actually turn into real love, but most of the time these fake couples split as soon as the movie comes out, making it painfully obvious. One of the most obvious cases of this was the on and off again relationship between Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart during the Twilight days. These two would always be in a relationship when their newest movies were dropping, but then a few weeks after the release, they would break up. Since they split almost immediately after the final Breaking Dawn movie was released, it's clear that it was all a lie. Also, the pair looked so uncomfortable when they were together, and now that we see what they look like in a happy relationship, it's clear that they weren't in one. And at number 9, paid paparazzi. If you've ever wondered why some celebrities look amazing in paparazzi photos while others don't, it's because a lot of celebrities hire their own paparazzi to make sure they never look bad in a photo. The most recent celebrity to get called out for using this tactic was Addison Rae. While Addison was out in New York, she happened to get a ton of great photos of herself out and about in the city, and Page Six called her out for tipping off the paparazzi about her location so she can get a ton of good pictures. Page Six called it, quote, a move straight out of the introductory course at the Kardashian Institute of Advanced Fame Grasp. Apparently Addison specifically wanted good photos of her outfits so that she could become known for her style. This move has long been used by the Kardashians back when they were up and coming, and now it seems that Addison is taking tips from her new friends. And at number 8, fake bodies. It's no secret that almost everyone in Hollywood has had some work done. Usually it's minor things like Botox and fillers to maintain youthfulness, but some celebrities went through major changes before making it big, and these cosmetic procedures were the reason that it all happened. Apparently it's an open secret that celebrities will change their bodies to adapt to the times to maintain marketability. But the worst part is that most celebrities don't own up to these big changes, so fans will think these people are effortlessly perfect, and it starts to impact the everyday person's self-esteem. One of the most common procedures seems to be a nose job, and most celebrities that are deemed au naturel have had it done. Blake Lively, Scarlett Johansson, and Jennifer Aniston are just some of the celebrities that fans are convinced had nose jobs, but they will never admit it to fans who think it's all elite genetics. And at number 7, award show corruption. Many fans assume that Oscars and Grammys are given to those who truly deserve it, but once you pull back the curtain, that's really not how it works. And an open secret is that anyone who wants to win one of these awards must campaign for it and basically bribe the judges. This can be in the form of actual money or things like vacations and expensive gifts. Back in 1981, actress Pia Zendora won the Best Newcomer award for her role in the movie Butterfly. It was a shock to everyone until it was exposed that her husband paid off the voting members to ensure that she won, and over time the practice did not get better. In 2011, publicist Michael Russell sued the Hollywood Foreign Press Association for firing him. He was trying to expose the corruption with the award show, and they didn't like that. The parties settled the dispute out of court. And at number 6, cheating. Movies often take months to film. That's long, grueling hours away from family and friends, stuck with the small same group of people. Because of how it all works, movie sets are breeding grounds for extramarital affairs, especially if you're spending a lot of time with your love interest in the movie that you're hugging and kissing all day on set. There are truly too many examples to name, but there's a solid chance that one of your favorite actors cheated on their spouse during the filming of a hit movie. The most famous are Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Kristen Stewart and director Rupert Sanders during the filming of their project. And obviously, this happens a lot more than it's reported. Halfway at number 5, fake names. The vast majority of Hollywood A-listers do not use their real names, instead they concocted a stage name. This is done for a variety of reasons. Sometimes just because their old name isn't as flashy, but other times the reasons are pretty dark. For some examples of celebrities with fake names, Martin Sheen's real name is Raymond Antonio Gerard Estevez, Jamie Foxx's name is Eric Marlon Bishop, and Marilyn Monroe's real name was Norma Jean Mortensen. Then other times a name change can be used to hide nepotism. Like for instance, Nicolas Cage's real name is Nicholas Coppola, and he's the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola, a famous Hollywood director. This familial connection landed Nick Cage his first role in the movie Peggy Sue Got Married. Other times a name change can be to hide racism. Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actor Chloe Bennett, real name Chloe Wang, said, quote, Hollywood is racist and wouldn't cast me with a last name that made them uncomfortable. And at number 4, stuntmen regularly lose their lives. Stuntmen are a very common thing on movie sets because A-list actors aren't able to do the stunts that we see in a lot of action movies. But fans might not know what a dangerous job that it is. is, and stuntmen regularly get critically injured or even lose their lives. And for how vital their role is to these movies, they are not paid fairly. The average stunt person pulls in about $250K a year, which sounds great, but is nothing compared to the about $20 million that the movie stars are making. Big name stars are obviously the ones that sell the tickets, but they're not the ones who put their lives on the line. During the filming of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, Daniel Radcliffe's stunt double David Holmes got hit by a staged explosion, and he was so seriously injured by the fragments that he suffered a neck break that left him fully paralyzed. Then on the set of Deadpool 2, a stuntman lost their life during a car crash scene. And at number 3, substance misuse. Following the release of the biopic Judy, we got to see the horrible practices the movie execs would use to get their talent to do what they wanted, specifically using illicit substances to wake the actors up and keep them on set working for very long hours. According to a 1982 New York Times article, use of these substances became so common that movie insurers would put clauses in their contracts to cut losses from these sorts of incidents, because several deaths and injuries on set stem from the use of these substances. In her 2013 memoir, Debbie Reynolds, the female lead for the 1952 musical Singing in the Rain, recalled that when her grueling schedule started to take a toll on her health, a studio executive told her to quote, take vitamin shots from his doctor. Then Judy Garland revealed her mother would give her quote, pep pills to ensure she had enough energy to film all day. Because of the toll these substances took on her health, Judy unfortunately passed away at the age of 47 because of an OD from these substances. And at number 2, inappropriate behavior runs rampant. So I'm gonna have to dance around the subject a bit for this one, but the things that have been exposed during the Me Too and Time's Up era are not new and have been happening for decades. Harvey Weinstein wasn't the first and only power player in Hollywood to use his power to get women to do what he wanted. And this all goes back to the idea of the quote casting couch, where you are expected to do sexual favors to these executives in exchange for a role. And there are many examples of this behavior taking place in Hollywood. Even worse, this behavior can also happen against One study even found that 94% of women employed in the American film industry have experienced sexual harassment or worse. This is a staggering number that should make everyone push for change. And finally, at number 1, discrimination problem. The problem of diversity in Hollywood is something that's being brought up more and more over the years, and when we look at some of the stats, it's pretty wild. Only one woman has ever won the Oscar for Best Director, and that was Kathryn Bigelow for the 2008 movie The Hurt Locker. Also, only one African American has ever won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay in the history of the Academy. That was Jordan Peele in 2018 for Get Out. But the problem is not only in the cast and crew of the movies, it's the higher up of the business in general. A 2016 Washington Post investigation reported that 96% of Hollywood's decision makers were white and 87% of them were male. Clearly a large gap between those demographics and what we see in society today. A study of 100 movies released in 2016 also showed that about 70% of speaking roles in that year's top 100 films were white, leaving 30% to account for Black, Asian, and Hispanic people. Another shocking stat was that just 31% of speaking characters were female.
In at number 10, Janet Jackson. It's very rare that a celebrity in Hollywood is able to keep their relationship, or marriage for that matter, under the radar. However, Janet Jackson has been able to keep her multiple marriages and subsequent divorces all a secret from the tabloids. First, she was married to singer-songwriter Renee Elizondo in 1991, and that union remained under wraps until she filed for divorce in 2000. She then managed to keep her next marriage to billionaire Wissam Almana in 2012 a secret as well. This marriage actually really ended up changing Janet. She moved to London and abandoned her look to opt for a more conservative garb in line with Almana's Muslim religion. The couple wed 2 years after they met, and much to everyone's surprise, the then 50-year-old Janet announced that she was pregnant with son Issa, who was born in January of this year. To even greater surprise, Janet then announced her separation from Almana 4 months later. In at number 9, Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin is typically all about the laugh, so it's really hard to believe her when she's talking about her late brother, a convicted pedophile. The public first learned about her older brother Kenny in her best-selling autobiography My Life on the D-List, and in the book Kathy spoke about growing up with her brother and how she felt a very violent energy whenever he was around. She even admitted to witnessing him beating up his own wife. What's just as disturbing was when Kathy explained how he was sexually inappropriate with her from the time that she was just a little girl. Ultimately, this shaped the way that she perceived the world and herself as she grew up. Kenny Griffin ended up going to prison and eventually passed away. In at number 8, Rose McGowan. Ever since the beginning of the Time's Up and Me Too movement, actress Rose McGowan has been an outspoken force for change. As a result, she's been very open about her own personal secrets involving mental illness and sexual abuse. Growing up, her life was plagued with pain because her parents belonged to a cult called the Children of God. According to Rose, the members believed in free love, and so she was raised in a commune where mistreating women was just normalized. She even cited that men in the cult would regularly mistreat women and force them to act as servants. In at number 7, Holly Madison. Having frequently visited the Playboy Mansion when she was a 20-year-old college student in Los Angeles, the aspiring actress decided to move into the the house a year later in 2001. The Oregon native, who was familiar with Playboy and had been a fan, soon became Hugh Hefner's lead girlfriend, and the two appeared to fall madly in love. Over the course of their 7 years together, their untraditional relationship was followed on the E! Channel series called The Girls Next Door. Holly acted as the loyal wife figure alongside co-stars and fellow girlfriends Kendra and Bridget. However, in a bizarre series of events, Holly left the mansion claiming that Hugh had refused to marry her. That being said, this is exactly how Hef wanted things to appear to the general public. In her memoir titled Down the Rabbit Hole, she spoke openly about their relationship and revealed some deep-rooted secrets that Hugh never wanted us to know. Apparently, he knew that she was unhappy and just ignored her. Upon reflecting on it, she said that even though she gave 7 years of her life, the man could barely have a conversation with her. In at number 6, Melissa Joan Hart. Melissa Joan Hart may be a happily married mother of 3, but during her time as Sabrina the Teenage Witch, she partied like every other Hollywood star. In the 1990s, she appeared to be this squeaky clean actor, but that was just an image put forth by executives. In her tell-all book called Melissa Explains It All, she speaks very openly about all of the secret stories that she had to keep under wraps while acting in Hollywood. In one portion of the book, she says that she experimented with weed, ecstasy, mushrooms, and mescaline for about a year and a half. Looks like her broomstick wasn't the only thing that was getting her high. Am I right? Up top. No? Okay. On top of that, she spilled crazy details about making out with a woman in a limo and then heading to a Maxim photo shoot while still high, then revealing that it was her 3rd or 4th time on ecstasy for this photo shoot. Although all of this bad behavior, she says, is attributed to the bad crowd that she was hanging around with. I think she claimed also that Paris Hilton once offered her cocaine at a party, but obviously she denied. In at number 5, Daniel Radcliffe. Where does the time go? It feels like only yesterday that we were watching the adventures of Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Although because we were so engulfed in following Daniel Radcliffe bring this character to life, we failed to notice when he grew up. Not only that, but his confession that he had a drinking problem was sadly something that no one wanted to hear about. Thankfully, he beat this in 2010, but the actor himself has revealed that he would show up to the set of Harry Potter still intoxicated from the night before. Daniel said that there were times during his teen years where he felt like he was being watched, and while admitting that most of that may have been in his own head, he still didn't know how to deal with it. During an interview with Off Camera, he said, "In my case, the quickest way to forget about the fact that you're being watched is to get very drunk." In an interview for The Guardian, he said that he turned to alcohol to cope with the pressure of fame and potential failure. And as I mentioned, he has been sober since 2010, but said that his friends played a big role in his recovery. Although he did reveal some pretty crazy stuff about being intoxicated while filming Harry Potter. Daniel said, "I can honestly say I never drank at work on Harry Potter. I went into work still drunk, but I never drank at work. I can point to many scenes where I'm just gone, dead behind the eyes." That really changes that movie series for me. In at number 4, Jackie Chan. There are very few actors in the world that have forsaken their health and safety like Jackie Chan just in order to do their own stunts. As a master of the martial arts, he's put his skills to the test both physically and comedically. Over the course of his illustrious career, he has injured himself countless times but somehow remains unfazed. It's most likely because Jackie grew up in a family of risk takers. His mother, Lee Chan, was a drug dealer, and his father actually was a secret agent for the Nationalist Guard. His father ended up fleeing to Hong Kong after Mao took power in 1949, and his mother was forced to abandon her first 2 children due to extreme poverty. Jackie Chan's parents actually met in the most bizarre way possible, a reason for meeting that Jackie would keep quiet for many years. Lee and Charles Chan met when he busted her for drug possession. He ended up taking pity on her and then just letting her go. I mean, what an origin story for this Hollywood superstar. In at number 3, Richard Pryor. More often than not, comedians have very tragic backstories, and that can certainly be said for the legendary comedian Richard Pryor. The actor and comic struggled with addiction throughout his life. He was married 7 times and even lit himself on fire once. However, his upbringing was even more of a personal struggle. Richard Pryor's mother, Gertrude, was a prostitute who worked out of his grandmother Marie's brothel. When Gertrude abandoned her son when he was only 10 years old, he was left in the hands of his abusive grandmother. Pryor's paternal side also didn't do him any favors. His father, Leroy, was a hustler and a boxer, yet despite his own demons and secrets, Pryor was able to turn his pain into comedy. In at number 2, 50 Cent. A lot of rappers talk about living a gangster lifestyle, but some of them actually do it. 50 Cent might seem egotistical and talk a big game, but the rapper has had a very tough childhood. The rapper, whose real name is Curtis Jackson, was born in Queens, New York, and his mother, Sabrina, was just 15 years old when she gave birth to him. Sabrina ended up turning to drug dealing to feed her son and became one of the most notorious drug dealers in the area. Unfortunately, she was killed in an unexplained fire when Jackson was only 8 years old. Still, he would go on to follow in her footsteps with drug dealing and was even shot 9 times in May of 2000. At the age of 19, an undercover police officer had arrested Jackson for selling 4 vials of cocaine, and then his home was raided 3 weeks later. He was then sentenced to 3 to 9 years, and he went to a boot camp instead to get his GED, but at this time he was already rapping and took on the name 50 Cent, which actually was an original moniker of a Brooklyn crook from the 1980s. Bunch of secrets in there for you that you could read on an autobiography page. Last but certainly not at least our number one spot, Keith Richards. Nobody who started their career in the music business in the 1960s, and I mean nobody, has remained untouched by the glorious days of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. This is especially valid for the musicians of the legendary rock bands, most of whom have admitted to having consumed all kinds of substances in their time. But none of those are as bizarre as the one that Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones is said to have sampled. In 2007, a magazine revealed that the 72-year-old guitarist once mixed his father's ashes with cocaine and then snorted him. The veteran of drug marathons was convinced that his father wouldn't have objected at all, and added that he went down pretty well. Many years later, Richards realized that being still alive after decades of drug and alcohol abuse was just pure luck. He also advised that others not follow in his footsteps and definitely abstain from snorting their parents.
And at number 10, Mafia Connections. Back when Hollywood first started, it was rumored that mobster Mickey Cohen ran the Hollywood underworld. Back in 1950, it was apparently a known thing that Cohen ran many organized crime units in LA. And over the years, it's been revealed that a lot of big old Hollywood stars had connections to the mafia. Even singer Wayne Newton had a connection to the mafia, and it almost ended up costing his life. Newton was apparently friendly with Guido Penosi, who was a member of the Gambino crime family, but Newton claimed he had no idea that he had mob ties. Then in 1980, there was a lot of scandal around Newton and the Aladdin Hotel that was co-owned with mafia members. Rumors swirled that Newton was talking to police behind their backs. Then Newton was put on a witness list to testify against the family, which got him a legitimate threat against his life from the mafia. Thank God he was able to survive the ordeal. And at number 9, ageism. Getting older is a fact of life, but in Hollywood they want to avoid it at all costs. And specifically for women, getting older means the end of your career. It's so bad that actors even try to hide their ages, so they can play younger roles. Actress Junie Ho Wang sued the website Internet Movie Database for revealing her true age to fans. Actress Jessica Lange has defied this ageism and has success in her 60s, but she admits it was more difficult as she got older. She said in one interview, quote, "Ageism is pervasive in this industry. It's not a level playing field. You don't often see women in their 60s playing romantic leads, yet you will see men in their 60s playing romantic leads with co-stars who are decades younger." And at number 8, fake fans. In the age of social media, followers are everything, and having tons of followers can mean the difference between getting the part or not. But sadly, a lot of these followers are not real, and it's been exposed that millions of social media followers are fake and are purchased to make it seem like the star is more popular. Some of the world's most popular celebrities are a part of this. Some of the worst offenders are Ariana Grande with 46% fake, Taylor Swift with also 46% fake, and Miley Cyrus with 45% fake. It's worth noting that the celebrity is not always responsible for the fake followers, but they usually are. And at number 7, all press is good press. We've all heard the famous saying, and it seems that celebrities don't care if they're getting good or bad press, they just want to be talked about. People might not know it's actually a PR strategy to get bad press. Sometimes the negativity helps to sell something, or it can take attention off something else. One example of this was back in 2014 when it was revealed that Kim and Kanye were going to be on the cover of Vogue. At the time, Kim was not a fashion icon, and people were outraged. Some readers even threatened to cancel their Vogue subscriptions, calling Kimye disgraceful and inappropriate for the iconic publication. Anna Wintour ended up going forward with the cover, and it was one of the most talked about issues of all time. We're not sure if it was all for press, but the negativity definitely helped to sell magazines. And at number 6, body issues. Looking perfect is something that all celebrities struggle with, but having the perfect figure is sadly something that the industry forces you to have to be successful. Many celebrities have come forward to share their stories of disordered eating, which was caused by Hollywood bigwigs saying that they weighed too much. Even agents and managers have told a star that they need to lose weight in order to be cast. Former child actor Raven Simone admitted on The View that she was told at age 7, while starring on The Cosby Show, that she couldn't eat certain things because she was getting too big. This experience caused her to have a lifelong struggle with food. Demi Lovato has also been open about their eating issues. Demi remembered that when they were only 3 years old, they hoped that their stomach was flat. People are now fighting back against these standards and advocating for more body positivity in Hollywood, but it's a long road ahead. Halfway number 5, Scientology. Scientology is a mysterious religion that happens to have a ton of A-list celebrity followers. It's been said that the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, used celebrities because he knew that they would attract followers to this new religion. This is also the reason that the Church of Scientology has a huge luxurious building right on Hollywood Boulevard. In the 1950s, L. Ron Hubbard created the quote, Project Celebrity, a written program that offers rewards to Scientologists who bring in some of the biggest names in Hollywood. Today, some of Hollywood's biggest stars follow Scientology, including Tom Cruise, John Travolta, and Kirstie Alley. Apparently, these stars are rewarded with butler-esque employees to do anything and everything for them. Former high-ranking members spoke out against this, claiming that they saw Tom Cruise use underpaid Scientology workers for years. And at number 4, gender pay gap. Yet another example of Hollywood being harmful to women is the gender pay gap between men and women in movies. And unfortunately, this still exists to this day. This issue came to the forefront in 2013 when the movie American Hustle was released. The movie showcases huge movie stars, but unfortunately it was exposed that the female actors received less than their male counterparts. An email hack revealed that Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams received 2 points less on the revenue sharing agreement than their male co-stars Bradley Cooper and Christian Bale, despite the fact that both actresses are A-list actors. Around the same time, Meryl Streep, the actor with the most Oscars ever, came forward to say that even she was paid less than her male co-stars. House of Cards actress Robin Wright also said that she needed to be paid as much as Kevin Spacey, or she would go public against Netflix. And at number 3, animal cruelty. When making a movie, it's imperative that nobody is hurt during the production. This includes animals, and it's common to read, quote, "No animals were harmed during the making of" while watching a movie. But according to many reports out of Hollywood, that's not always true, and animals are often harmed on movie sets. Some of the worst examples include the near-drowning death of a tiger during the filming of Life of Pi, the hitting of a dog on the set of 8 Below, and the dozens of dead fish and squid that washed up on the shore over 4 days during filming of the Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. The second season of the HBO series Luck was actually cancelled after 4 horses died during the production. Apparently they were overworked because the production wanted the horse racing to look as real as possible. The people on set also ignored warnings from humane animal monitors on the set, making it clear that they didn't care about the animals. Unfortunately, this loss of life had no repercussion. In at number 2, Hollywood fixers. It's long been rumored that bigwigs in Hollywood will hire fixers to do the dirty work for them. These are basically tough guys that will swoop in and do the dirty work that these powerful people can't get caught doing themselves. This idea was brought up again because of the series Ray Donovan. Back in the days of old Hollywood, where stars would sign their lives away to movie studios, it was common to have these fixers to deal with personal issues. It was rumored that these men would cover up pregnancies of their young stars, along with making accusations against powerful men go away. And these practices still happen today. A fixer named Anthony Pellicano was arrested after it was discovered that he sent threatening notes to celebrities along with a dead fish. Pellicano was allegedly employed by stars such as Michael Jackson, Chris Rock, Kevin Costner, and Steven Spielberg. And finally at number 1, the Illuminati. The Illuminati might be the most elusive group in Hollywood. Nobody is quite sure who they are, but everyone is pretty sure that some of the top celebrities in the world are a part of it. Most notably Beyonce, Jay-Z, Tom Hanks, and Lady Gaga. The subject of the Illuminati was brought to light again recently after David Dobrik did a podcast interview where he spoke about his experience with the Illuminati in Hollywood. He told the story to Zayn and Heath on their podcast, where David revealed that a girl that he knew was approached by the Illuminati, and she was told she needed to sacrifice someone to them if she wanted to get famous. Apparently this girl called her mother, who was okay to be the one sacrificed, but the girl did not end up going through with it. Months later, David and this girl were at a Hollywood party with old Hollywood A-listers, and when the topic of the Illuminati came up, the girl told the group about how she was approached, and one of the A-listers told her not to get involved with them because the Illuminati ruined his best friend's life. Apparently this A-lister's supposed best friend was Michael Jackson. And at number 10, Paris Hilton's boarding school. In 2020, Paris Hilton opened up about her traumatic childhood after keeping it a secret for most of her life. In her documentary This Is Paris, Hilton alleged that she'd been subjected to toxic and harmful treatment while attending Provo Canyon School in Utah, which was a boarding school for troubled teens. Hilton revealed that while she was there, she would be isolated in solitary confinement for no reason and be forced to take pills that made her feel numb. Paris and her entire family kept this secret for her entire time that Paris was a socialite and an A-list star. Along with her difficult childhood, Paris also exposed that her voice was faked, and she made it sound higher to play into the dumb blonde stereotype. And at number 9, Joan Crawford. Back in old Hollywood, they didn't have the beauty products that we have today, and actors were forced to use alternative measures to look their best on camera. Actress Joan Crawford took this to the extreme and admitted to soaking her eyes in boric acid every week to make them, quote, sparkle on camera. She exposed this years later in her autobiography called my way of life. When talking about this beauty regimen, Crawford said once a week she'd steam her face, apply a mask, and soak her eyes in boric acid, casually instructing, quote, "While the mask is working, place pads soaked in witch hazel and boric acid over your eyelids and put on your favorite music." Obviously, this was an extremely bad idea that could have made her go blind, but she risked it all just to look better. And at number 8, the black box. We are just now scratching the surface of the horrific things that child actors had to endure in the days of old Hollywood. Sadly, one of the punishments adults on set would use when a child actor misbehaved was putting them in a thing called a black box. This was a closed-in box where the actor was forced to sit on an actual block of ice as punishment. Shirley Temple spoke of this box in her autobiography and called it an exploitation of her childish innocence. In her book, she said that if any child on the set of Baby Burlesque misbehaved, they were locked in a windowless sound booth dubbed the punishment box, where they'd be forced to sit on a block of ice. Temple was sent to the box several times in her tenure as a child star. Temple added, quote, "Far as I can tell, the black box did no lasting damage on my psyche. Its lesson of life, however, was profound and unforgettable. Time is money. Wasted time means wasted money means trouble." And at number 7, Jackie Cooper. Stories like this are so horrible, I truly hope this is still not happening today. Actor Jackie Cooper shared a terrible memory of when he was working on set. While he was filming the movie Skippy, Cooper was not able to make himself cry. So the director, who happened to be his uncle, threatened to kill his dog if he didn't cry. Norman Turog, the uncle and director, left lasting trauma on Cooper. In his autobiography, Cooper said about the situation, quote, "I began sobbing so hysterically that it was almost too much for the scene. Turog had to quiet me down by saying perhaps my dog had survived the shot, that if I hurried and calmed down a little and did the scene the way he wanted, we would go see if my dog was still alive." Cooper ended up earning the nomination for Best Actor in a Leading Role for his performance in 1931. He was just 9 years old, and he's still the youngest nominee ever for the award. And at number 6, morality clauses. Back in the day, the studios basically owned the actors that they signed, and they made them sign their life away. Once they became an actor for a major studio, the actor totally belonged to them and was not able to make major life decisions without consulting executives. Many of these clauses forced female actors to stay unmarried so they were more marketable to men. Others even forced women to terminate their pregnancies so they would not waste any time that could be spent filming. The studios claimed that these clauses were to, quote, "prevent stars from destroying their value through scandal." Stars like Lana Turner, Judy Garland, and Jeanette MacDonald were all held to these clauses, and they would disguise the hospital visits and claim they were for ear infections or other minor treatments. Halfway number 5, closeted LGBT+ actors. To continue along the lines of morality clauses, another use of those clauses were to closet LGBT+ actors, even forcing some of them into sham marriages just to keep up appearances. This part of the clause revolved around not, quote, "forfeiting the respect of the public." If the actor breached this part of the contract and had a relationship that was not approved, they would risk losing their entire salary for the role. Also, if the actor was outed, that would mean the end of their career either way. Gay actor Rock Hudson's struggle with his identity was revealed in the biography All That Heaven Allows. In that book, it was exposed that a magazine planned to out him back in the day. At that time, Hudson's agent was the only person who knew the truth and proposed that he get married to squash the story. Hudson immediately married Phyllis Gates, but they divorced a couple years later. The secret stayed with him until days before he passed away. And at number 4, Buddy Epson. Back in the days of old Hollywood, the makeup and prosthetics weren't what they are today, and oftentimes the costumes that the actors would wear would be toxic. One fact is that the Wicked Witch's green face in The Wizard of Oz was made with toxic paint. And Buddy Epson, who was supposed to play the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, did not do so because he had an extreme reaction to the aluminum dust from the makeup. Because of this reaction, he was replaced in the movie with actor Jack Haley. Epson was ultimately hospitalized and forced out of Oz's production. For years after the movie, Epson claimed that the makeup caused permanent breathing problems for the rest of his life. And at number 3, Jack Nicholson's sister was his mother. This one isn't really related to Hollywood, more so a secret that a Hollywood actor kept for a number of years. Jack Nicholson kept a huge secret from the public almost his entire life, mostly because he didn't know the truth until he was an adult. His entire life, Jack was raised with a sister named June, who was 17 years older than him. But when his parents died, Jack's older sister revealed that Jack was actually her child, and her parents raised him as their own to hide the stigma from a young pregnancy. And Jack's parents were actually his grandparents the whole time. And at number 2, Rihanna's father had a second life. Rihanna has spoken in the past about her tense relationship with her father. Throughout her life, he was addicted to alcohol and cheated on her mother essentially their whole marriage. But one day, a horrible secret was revealed, and apparently the entire time he was married, Rihanna's father had a second family. He had 3 other children as well, 2 daughters and a son. At one point, Rihanna was even forced to sue her father because he was selling services involving her name and likeness, although she later dropped that suit. And finally, number 1, hidden children. Being a movie star means that you need to be perfect 24/7. That includes hiding pregnancies from the public or trying to make them go away. Celebrities like Kylie Jenner kept her pregnancy totally a secret until after the birth to ensure the media did not affect her. However, there are tons of celebrities who completely hid secret love children from the public. Aerosmith's frontman Steven Tyler had a secret child well in his heyday, so he and the mother decided to hide the paternity from the child. When Liv Tyler was 8, she found out the truth, and so did the media. Apparently, she was forced to put the pieces of the puzzle together herself when she could no longer ignore the resemblance she had to the singer and his other kids.
3. And at number 10, Bob Saget. Legendary comedian Bob Saget passed away suddenly on January 9th in a hotel room in Orlando. Immediately after his passing, fans were speculating on how he passed. After some investigation, it was reported that there was no foul play or use of substances, that he most likely just passed away of a heart attack or stroke. But the autopsy has just come back, and we know that he actually died of blunt force trauma to the head, a much different story than what was said before. The night before he died, Saget did a show at a concert hall in Jacksonville, Florida. Then he was found unresponsive in his room at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, quote, in a face-upward position on his bed, according to a police report. Police are now saying a fall could be the reason, but other experts are claiming the force used is similar to that of a baseball bat, raising even more questions. As of now, Saget's family is blocking the release of any records pertaining to the case over privacy issues, so it seems we may never know what really happened to cause his death. And at number 9, Naya Rivera. Naya Rivera, best known from the show Glee, shocked the world when it was reported that she had gone missing in a lake in July of 2020. She was out on a boat with her young son, and after many hours on the water, the boat returned with only her son on it. Her child was found asleep on the vessel by a boater that afternoon, alongside Rivera's purse, wallet, and ID, but Naya was nowhere to be found. After searching the lake for days, her body was discovered. The Ventura County Sheriff's Department announced on July 13th that they had recovered her body following an extensive search and recovery effort. Since then, her death has been ruled an accident, but for many fans, the whole thing just seems too strange to be true, and unfortunately we will never know the full story of what happened on the boat that day. And at number 8, Michael Jackson. The king of pop died suddenly at the age of 50 after suffering a cardiac arrest in June of 2009. But there's been so much mystery around his death, it went from being ruled an OD to a homicide. He was found unresponsive in his home, and it was determined that he ingested too much of a substance. After investigation, his personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was charged with manslaughter, with the courts arguing he prescribed Jackson much more than was needed and his prescription caused his death. The years after his passing, allegations of inappropriate conduct from former friends of Jackson's came to light. And ever since, fans have been trying to figure out what really happened between Jackson and the kids he would spend time with at his home. The secrets of what truly happened will now never be uncovered. And at number 7, Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is known for a lot of things, specifically being one of the founding fathers of the USA, but it seems he was not always faithful to his wife, and he had a mysterious son with another woman. The son, named William Franklin, was clear he was the son of Franklin's, but notoriously mysterious over who his mother was. Some suspect he was born before Ben married Deborah Reed, making him illegitimate. Another theory is that he cheated on his wife with a mistress who ended up getting pregnant. William was involved with his father's business and even became noteworthy in his own right for helping his father in his famous kite experiment. He eventually settled in England to distance himself from the family, and when he passed, he never revealed who his mother was. And at number 6, Kurt Cobain. Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain tragically passed away at the age of 27 in 1994 and is a member of the infamous 27 Club. Law enforcement determined that Cobain took his own life, but there was a lot of inconsistencies in his case that led many to speculate that's not actually how he died. A book was even written blaming the whole thing on Cobain's wife, Courtney Love. The book claims that he died of an OD before being shot by Love. A private detective who was hired determined that Love even tried to pay someone to have them kill Cobain for her. This man claimed he was offered $50,000 and even passed a polygraph proving it. Although Love was never officially charged, she is guilty in the court of public opinion, and many fans are convinced she is responsible, but only Cobain knows the truth. And at number 5, Ludwig van Beethoven. On his deathbed, Beethoven wrote a love letter to the love of his life, although he didn't address it to anyone, so we have no idea who this woman was. When he died in 1827, a letter was left to the Germans' immortal beloved. It was later determined that he wrote the letter years before in 1812. Scholars have tried to speculate who his beloved could be, but there is no clear answer.
The most likely choice seems to be Antoine Bertinano. She was close with him, mainly because she was actually married to a good friend of his. Others proposed Josephine Countess von Brunswick as the most likely candidate because he had written her love letters in the past. It was speculated that since she was poor and of low social standing, he was not allowed to be open about his true feelings for her. Since he never told anyone, only he knows the answer. And at number 4, the Black Dahlia. The Black Dahlia is one of the most infamous cases in LA history. On January 15th of 1947, 22-year-old Elizabeth Short's body was found dead in a vacant lot near a park in LA. The state of her body was the most concerning. Her body was cut in half and all the blood was drained from it. Her body was also perfectly clean, so no evidence was able to be collected from it. There was only one witness that was any help to police. The person claimed they saw a black sedan parked in the area the night before. Since her passing, there have been tons of theories about how or why it happened. And even though so much time has passed, nobody has ever been charged for the crime. Today, the Black Dahlia case remains one of the oldest cold case files in LA, as well as the city's most famous. And at number 3, Prince. Prince is one of the most legendary singers of all time, who made a huge impact on the industry, but his shocking death left many with unanswered questions, and many fans are still convinced we don't know the full story. On April 21st of 2016, he was found unresponsive in an elevator at the Paisley Park studio. Initially, the police marked it as an accident because when he passed away, he had many substances in his system. No charges were filed against anyone, even though many of Prince's fans do not believe he would have done this. Years later, there is still no definitive answers, specifically no idea how he got these substances and how he was able to ingest so much. According to sources that knew him very well, he didn't use any of these substances and had no intentions to start. Because there's still so many unanswered questions, the case remains open. And at number 2, George Reeves. In 1959, actor George Reeves was killed under very mysterious circumstances. He made a name for himself playing Superman in the 1950s TV show Adventures of Superman, but his career was cut short after he was killed. At the age of 45, he was killed by a shot to the head. The strange death was then labeled as him taking his own life, but many fans do not believe this could be the case. It was rumored that he was intentionally killed or the death was completely accidental. To add even more strangeness, the death happened while Reeves was with 3 other people, including his fiancée. But even though all those people most likely witnessed what actually happened, none of them ever told. And finally, at number 1, Nicole Brown Simpson. One of the most talked about cases of all time is the case of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Their death started the case of O.J. Simpson that would become the trial of the century. Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman were killed outside Simpson's Brentwood, California condo in 1994. After some investigation, it was clear that O.J., her ex-husband, was the prime suspect. His DNA had been found at the crime scene, and witnesses saw him leaving the scene of the crime that night. After an intense and highly publicized trial, he was found not guilty, and with no other suspects considered, the person responsible is still out there. Although many people are convinced that O.J. is the person who did it, and lucky circumstances are the real reason he got off. He was later found guilty of committing the act in a civil lawsuit done by Ron Goldman's family, but because of O.J.'s financial troubles, he has not paid this debt. Years later, O.J. went to prison for robbery and is now out free.
Number 10, Shakira and Gerard Piqué. Shakira and her longtime partner, Spanish soccer player Gerard Piqué, went their separate ways in June 2022. We regret to confirm that we are separating, the two said in a statement released by Shakira's public relations firm. For the well-being of our children, who are our highest priority, we ask that you respect our privacy. Thank you for your understanding. The singer met the football player on the set of her music video for Waka Waka This Time for Africa in 2010. Together they had 2 sons, Milan and Sasha. Number 9. Bella Thorne and Benjamin Mascolo. Bella Thorne and her fiancé, Benjamin Mascolo, have broken up and called off their engagement. The 28-year-old Spanish singer, Benjamin, confirmed the news via Instagram on June 2nd, writing, "I wish only the best for this person and I will always be there for her. I love you." Mascolo proposed to the 24-year-old actress with a pear-shaped diamond ring in March 2021 after nearly 2 years of dating. An insider told People their conflicting schedules led to a lot of time apart that eventually resulted in the breakup. These things do happen. Number 8. Candice Accola and Joe King. The Vampire Diaries cast member Candice Accola filed for divorce on May 24th from the Fray member Joe King. Candice subsequently moved to Nashville from their Brentwood, Tennessee home. The estranged couple got married in October 2014 and together had 2 daughters, Florence and Josephine.
At number 7, we have actor Tom Cruise and actress Katie Holmes. Now these two were somewhat of a wreck just waiting to happen according to just about everybody. As soon as they went public with their love back in 2005, the public was already expecting a breakup to take place between the two of them. It was said to be mainly due to their age difference, but there were also loads of smaller issues that most likely played a huge part in their romantic demise. For one, Tom was 14 years Katie's senior, and there was the biggest and probably least surprising Scientology mess. Where Katie was brought up as a Catholic, Tom was heavily devoted to the practice of Scientology, which has its own slew of bad rumors and unethical practices and brainwashing techniques attached to its name. Then there was the fact that both Tom and Katie were at two very different places in their career at the time, which inevitably doomed their relationship from the get-go. Where Tom was a megastar hitting all the biggest screens, Katie was just up and coming as an actress. Surprisingly enough, their marriage remained intact for 6 whole years, but on the opposite end, no one was quite shocked to see it go. At number 6, we have former lovebirds from the second season of the reality series Love is Blind. Featured stars Danielle Rule and Nick Thompson are reportedly calling their marriage quit after a single year of being together. According to news sources that were scoped from multiple online documents, Danielle filed for divorce in Illinois on August 15th at the Cook County Circuit Court. The once seemingly happy duo met and fell in love on Netflix's dating show and went on to tie the knot in June 2021. Their season finale wedding was featured in the show, which was released in February of this year. However, they haven't publicly confirmed their split when news sources originally made the discovery and began publishing their stories. More so, Danielle is still listed as a Thompson in her Instagram bio and handle. On June 8th, the couple posted sweet tributes on Instagram to mark the celebration of their 1-year wedding anniversary, so things seemed okay at that time. In fact, Nick's post featured an image of him and Danielle at their wedding, with an explanation that although marriages broadcasted on TV are tough, he and Danielle are, quote, putting in the work to get to know each other and learn how to be partners for one another. The former spouses were the only pair of the two couples on season 2 of Love is Blind to end up tying the knot, as the opposite duo Ayanna and Jarrett announced their plans to divorce just a few days after Danielle filed for her own separation paperwork, ironically enough. Many LIB fans were initially disappointed to know that these couples broke up, as season 1 couples Lauren and Cameron and Amber and Matthew are still together to this day.
At number 5, we have Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen. Now, Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen had a bumpy marriage, and Denise decided to pull the plug on their marriage when she was only a few months pregnant with the couple's second child. In 2006, their divorce was finalized, however, the couple hadn't signed a prenup. Considering Charlie appeared on 2.5 Men, making millions during their marriage, Charlie would be responsible to pay 50% of the earnings and assets made from their marriage. However, Denise has claimed that she never saw any of the sitcom money, and Charlie has over $450,000 in unpaid child support. According to several inside sources, Charlie pays Denise $80,000 to cover the cost of their $2, and he also pays the same amount to his other ex-wife, Brooke Mueller, for their 2 children. However, Charlie's once $220 million net worth is no longer in the state it was, and most of it went towards his risk behavior rather than to his spouses and children. At number 4, we have James Cameron and Linda Hamilton. After being married for 18 months, James and Linda decided to call off their marriage, and their divorce would cost James a hefty penny. Now, Linda would come forward to say that she and James had decided to split due to James having an affair with an actor from the Titanic, while James was a film producer on the set. The love triangle would ultimately dissolve James's and Linda's marriage, and in 1999 the couple's divorce would be finalized and Linda would receive $50 million in a settlement. At number 3, we have Harrison Ford and Melissa Matheson. Now, Harrison Ford and Melissa have been divorced now for 2 decades. However, their divorce still remains one of Hollywood's most expensive divorces. Now, the couple decided to part ways ultimately because they thought that the absence would make their hearts grow fonder for each other. And after being married for 21 years, Melissa would file for a divorce in 2001. Since the couple never arranged a prenup agreement when they wed, there was a 3-year-long battle before they were able to reach a settlement. In 2004, Melissa would be awarded $85 million, and she would also be able to receive part of Harrison's future earnings from Indiana Jones and The Fugitive sales. At number 2, we have Adele and Simon Kanucki. Now, Adele and Simon's divorce had to be one of the messiest and unfair divorces Hollywood has ever seen for a while. Who can forget that photo of Adele screaming at Simon in tears when he took almost all of her money? When Adele finalized her divorce from Simon, she would have to pay the CEO a settlement of $140 million out of her $190 million net worth. Of course, when this news came to light, a lot of men were stoked at the prospect of Adele having having to hand over $100 million and said Simon deserved the large amount. However, considering women are still paid less than men in most workplace settings, the fact that Adele had to fork over 2/3 of her hard-earned fortune is insane. What Adele's divorce has taught us is that no money is ever safe in a marriage. If you're a celebrity or a billionaire and you're thinking about getting married, make sure you get that prenup ready. At number 1, we have Princess Diana and King Charles. Now, it's no lie that Diana lost a lot when her time as a royal came to an end. When the royal marriage dissolved, it's clear that even princesses don't always have their fairy tale ending. After the two announced their separation in 1992, Queen Elizabeth would strip Diana's royal titles at the behalf of Charles' insistence, and Diana would then need to curtsy to anybody in the royal family, and this included her sons. Despite losing her royal title, Diana did gain some money. Now, neither side officially disclosed details of anything Diana would get. However, a newspaper would later leak that Diana would receive $22.5 million plus another $600,000 salary a year to pay for her private office. At number 10, we have Dr. Dre and Nicole Young. After 18 months of a legal battle back and forth, rapper and producer Dr. Dre was finally able to finalize his divorce from Nicole Young with a $100 million settlement. Under the terms of the settlement, Nicole would get $50 million immediately and another $50 million in 1 year after. However, Nicole would not be eligible for spousal support, and Nicole would also be able to leave the marriage with all of her jewelry as well as 4 vehicles, which included a Rolls Royce, Range Rover, Escalade, and a Spider motorcycle. Nicole was required to move out of the Malibu beach home that she was currently living in, and she had to pay her own legal fees under the agreement. Dr. Dre, who is worth more than $820 million, will keep a large sum of his wealth, including his master recordings, trademarks, and interest in various partnerships and trust. He also was able to retain all of his Apple stocks, which included all of the proceeds from his sales of Beats by Dre, which Apple bought back in 2014 for $3 billion. The musician was also able to keep 6 of the vehicles and 7 of the couple's properties. Nicole initially filed for divorce in 2020, citing a that led to her PTSD, and Dre has since denied the allegations. At number 9, we have Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. After being married for 27 years, the couple split due to the fact they believed that they couldn't grow as a couple into the next phase of their lives. Now, court documents did show that the two had a private separation agreement in place, but not a prenup. Since the two shared so much of their professional life together, untangling their assets definitely became a complicated process. The couple had several properties, and Bill had a net worth of around $152 billion prior to the divorce, meaning he and Melinda could now each be only worth $76 billion. The couple also shares a handful of luxury planes and cars, and they run their namesake foundation, which is worth more than $40 billion. Now, both have agreed to continue to work together at the foundation as they continue its mission of helping people around the world lead healthy, productive lives. If you're liking this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos. Jeff and Mackenzie's divorce settlement is the largest divorce settlement in history to ever occur. When the divorce settlement was made official, Jeff had to hand over a 4% stake in Amazon, and he also had to transfer Amazon shares worth $38 billion into Mackenzie's name. Now, Mackenzie is an author, and she's now become the 4th richest woman and has already promised to give away at least half of her fortune. Now, despite handing over a vast sum of money, Jeff will still remain the world's richest individual with a $118 billion fortune. He has also given $2 billion of his wealth to Bezos' Day One fund to help address homelessness and improve education for children in low-income families. Jeffs also congratulated his former wife in a tweet, linking her Given Pledge letter, which encourages the world's richest people to commit to giving away at least half of their wealth to charity. At number 7, we have Paul McCartney and Heather Mills. Now, Paul McCartney's divorce to Heather Mills cost him $48.7 million. The couple would call it quits in 2006, however, their divorce wasn't complete until 2008, and once they finalized their divorce, it came to a hefty penny for Paul. When all was said and done, Paul would have to pay Heather $48.7 million, and on top of that, Heather would receive $70,000 a year for child support, which would later leave Paul to this day to say that his marriage to Heather was the biggest regret of his life. Ouch. To make matters worse, the media was constantly getting involved, and in 2007, while Heather was trying to speak at a charity campaign fundraiser, a reporter asked her if she was the woman that took Paul's money. At number 6, we have Mel Gibson and Robin Moore. In 2006, Robin decided to separate from her husband Mel after Mel was caught driving under the influence. At the time, Mel and Robin didn't have a prenup agreement, which meant she was entitled to walk away with at least half of his earnings that he made in the last 30 years they were married. With Mel's net worth being only $850 million at the time, Robin would be entitled to receive about $425 million. In addition, she would also pick up 50% of the pension benefits that Mel built up during the 31 years of marriage. During this settlement, it outlined his ex-wife would also get half of his film rights, and she was entitled to a split of his Directors Guild of America pension and half of the benefits he accumulated through their production company.
At number 5, we have the queen of pop, Britney Spears, and her ex-husband Kevin Federline. I think it's safe to say that once Britney first made the announcement that she would be walking down the aisle with her former backup dancer turned lover, the world seemingly knew they'd be a disaster waiting to crash. But people were surprised when Britney and Kevin began having children together. Still, fans were wickedly anticipating a divorce announcement from Britney and Kevin at the time. Their relationship lasted a brief 2 years before Britney apparently blindsided Kevin with her filing for divorce. However, supporters of the pop star weren't nearly as disturbed by it, of course. At number 4, we have previous Keeping Up with the Kardashian love stars Kris Jenner and Caitlyn Jenner, who formerly went by Bruce Jenner back when they were married. One thing I can tell you for sure is that at the beginning, their relationship seemed picture perfect. They had the typical solid match made in heaven type of romance, apparently, but this soon changed as Kris began growing more and more successful, with their family becoming just as famous. This is where Kris and the previously Bruce's relationship would experience major change. By the time the reality show hit its 4th season, it appeared Kris and Caitlyn couldn't really stand to be around each other. However, in probably the most surprising feat on today's list, both reality stars managed to make it all the way to season 8 before they finally put a wrap on their marriage. Still, this one was deemed by fans worldwide to be a marriage destined for failure for a long time coming.
Number 3, Sam Hunt and Hannah Lee Fowler. Sam Hunt's wife, Hannah Lee Fowler, filed for divorce in Tennessee after nearly 5 years of marriage. The Alabama native nurse accused the country superstar of cheating on her in court documents. She also disclosed she is pregnant. It was not publicly known that the former couple were expecting their first child, but now it is, obviously. Number 2, Angelina Pivernick and Chris Larangira. Jersey Shore star Angelina Pivernick and her husband Chris are calling it quits for the 2nd time. Chris filed for divorce from the reality star on January 20th, 2022. The pair married in November 2019, with Angelina first filing for divorce in 2021, but that time they worked out their differences. Maybe they will again, maybe they shouldn't. Who can say? Not me. And number 1, Joe Gatto and Bessie Gatto. Impractical Joker star Joe Gatto announced at the start of the new year that he and his wife of 8 years, Bessie Gatto, were divorcing. The former couple shared 2 children, daughter Milana and son Remo. Neither Joe nor Bessie gave a cause for the split, which obviously they don't have to, but the prankster did reveal it was forcing him to leave Impractical Jokers. So there's that.
At number 10, we have former acting couple Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. The questionable age gap at the time of their relationship was already convincing enough for many to believe that their marriage would not make it to the end of time. The two met back when Demi was 25 and Ashton was 41, but the older star had 3 children closer in age to him than Demi was. With this fact in mind, there were also rumors of infidelity on his part and opening up their relationship to others that certainly did not help keep their marriage afloat. It's been reported by various sources that the most surprising outcome of the marriage ending is just how long it took for them to call it quits. Yikes. At number 9, we have another acting twosome who announced they were splitting yet again, at no real surprise for fans. Apparently, the ex-spouses were having an insane amount of marital issues for years before their separation. Alongside rumors of infidelity in their relationship, there were also apparently the tripling up of Ben's gambling and drinking problems. It probably didn't save their situation once Ben announced in his 2013 Oscar speech how he and Jennifer were working on their marriage at that point. Surely you may not all be that shocked to know, with all that information, that the two revealed the end of their marriage in 2015. At number 8, we have actress Gwyneth Paltrow and English singer-songwriter Chris Martin, who didn't make the public announcement that they decided to separate until 2014, following 10 whole years of marriage. There were very obvious signs between them that indicated they might not have been seeing a long future together, and it seems fans were undoubtedly right on the money. Not one of them was caught off guard due to the fact that they would not post pose together on red carpets, nor discuss one another in interviews they gave prior. In fact, when Gwyneth discussed her marriage in interviews, it was only to explain how hard it was for her to be married. Reportedly, there were cheating rumors involved with them, and they were broadcasted as another Hollywood couple with an open marriage. Regardless, the very obvious signs that things were donezo were clearly written in the stars long before the divorce papers were signed, stamped, and finalized.
Number 7. Jen Armstrong and Ryne Holliday. Real Housewives of Orange County star Dr. Jen Armstrong filed for legal separation from her husband, Ryne Holliday, on May 13th this year after almost 8 years of marriage. The cosmetic MD cited irreconcilable differences as the cause of the split and listed the date of separation as September 8th, 2021. They share 3 children together, twins Vera and Vince, and their son, Robert. Number 6. Lenny Hochstein and Lisa Hochstein. Lenny Hochstein announced to Page 6 on May 16th that he and his wife Lisa, who starred in Real Housewives of Miami, were getting divorced amid his romance with model Katharina Mazepa. This is a very difficult time, and I would ask for some privacy so that we can best take care of our children who mean the world to us. The former couple shared 2 children, son Logan and daughter Elle.
Halfway number 5, Hoda Khattab and Joel Schiffman. After 8 years of being together, Hoda and Joel announced that they will be ending their engagement. Hoda made the announcement on January 31st on Today with Hoda and Jenna after some viewers wondered why she was no longer wearing an engagement ring. She revealed that over the holidays her and Joel had a lot of meaningful conversations where they realized they were better off as friends than an engaged couple. So they decided to start off the new year with a different type of relationship where they are no longer romantically involved. In at number 4, Josh Flagg and Bobby Boyd. $1 Million Listing Los Angeles star Josh Flagg announced in 2022 that he was splitting from his husband, Bobby Boyd. The pair had been married for 5 years. Flagg announced the news in an Instagram post, writing quote, "Bobby and I are divorcing. This might sound abrupt, but I felt I should be transparent from the top rather than bury the headline. This was not a rash or impulsive decision. We have been very thoughtful before coming to this conclusion." He continued that the pair did not fall out of love, rather they felt that they were growing in different directions and could no longer be there for each other in the ways that they needed. And at number 3, Ashley and Michael Darby. The Real Housewives of Potomac star Ashley Darby has announced her divorce from her husband, Michael. Darby announced the news on Instagram where she wrote in part that quote, "Almost 8 years ago when Michael and I said I do, we anticipated sharing every single day together from that moment forward. Unfortunately, that's not our current reality. We have decided to separate." She explained that there was no reason for the decision, but it was a mix of many things, and that people will speculate the decision was made for various reasons, adding quote, "People will be quick to assume that the causes were too much intrusion by reality TV into the most personal parts of our lives, age gap issues, cultural problems, or child rearing differences. Pieces of all these may have affected our pure love for each other, but no one reason is the root cause of our mutual decision." A source close to the couple said they had been having serious issues for the last year, and there's been a huge disconnect between them as a couple. In at number 2, Pamela Anderson and Dan Hayhurst. Pam and Dan have sadly been only married for a year, but have already decided to end their marriage. A source described the relationship as a whirlwind romance that simply ran its course. After their wedding, the pair were not getting along and decided to take a break from each other. Another source claimed that Pam rushed into this marriage because she saw the relationship as a fresh start, but the spark was starting to fade and she was having regrets. Apparently Dan was trying to make it work between them, but Pam knew it was time to end things. Any news source said, quote, "There was no straw that broke the camel's back, but rather Dan is not the man she hoped he was." This was Pamela's 6th marriage. She's been married 5 times in the past, twice to the same man. And finally, number 1, Ali Wong and Justin Hakuda. Comedian Ali Wong recently announced that her and her husband of 8 years, Justin Hakuda, are divorcing. A source told People, quote, "It's amicable and they will continue to co-parent lovingly." The divorce news is not a shock to some fans who felt she was hinting at being unhappy in her marriage in multiple Netflix specials. The former couple met at a wedding reception in 2010 when he was a Harvard business student. They got married in 2014 and had their first daughter a year later, followed by another girl in 2017. During her 2016 Netflix stand-up special Baby Cobra, Wong joked how she trapped her husband to be with her after learning he was going to Harvard Business School. A sour spot for the couple was most likely how often Wong ripped on her marriage during her comedy. Once when speaking about her marriage, she said, quote, "Like an idiot, I asked this dude to ask me to go to prison, and I'm in monogamy jail and I don't know how to get out." She even joked in the same special that she thinks of cheating every 5 minutes, but no good opportunities have taken place. Alrighty guys, so that's all for the list today. Let me know your thoughts below and let me know any other celebrity splits that I missed. That could be in a part 2. I mean, I guess it's only been a few months of 2022, so there will probably be many more to discuss in the months that come, which is really unfortunate, but I guess that's kind of how the world works these days. People get divorced, what is it, like half of all couples? You know, it's really sad, but I guess it kind of is what it is.
In at number 10, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Everything about this couple was messy, from how they got together to how they split up. After a terrible and messy divorce from Jennifer Aniston, with plenty of cheating rumors flying around, Brad and Angelina basically confirmed that they were together only a month later. They then got married in 2014. The couple had a huge family with many children, growing their family to 6 kids, with 3 being their biological children. Then came their separation, where cheating rumors started swirling. Then came the divorce, which came only 2 years after they got married. One of the messiest revelations in the divorce was that Pitt may have gotten physical with their oldest child Maddox while he was drunk. But the LA Department of Children and Family Services later cleared him of all charges. Then they had many legal fights about money, where Jolie claimed that Pitt hadn't, quote, paid any meaningful child support since they split. But then it came out that Pitt had paid over $1.3 million and even loaned her $8 million at one point. In at number 9, Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes. The marriage between these two have generated rumors for years. More specifically, Tom's relationship to Scientology and how Katie fit into that world. Eyebrows were raised after the couple divorced in July of 2012, 6 years after being together. Throughout the relationship, many speculated as to how real it actually was, with rumors swirling that there was a lot of fakeness in the marriage. Then when the couple got divorced, they finalized everything in just 11 days, which I think is a celebrity record. Many think this was a testament to just how ironclad the prenup they signed was. And apparently a big part of the reason for the divorce was that the couple could not decide on how to raise their daughter Suri. Tom wanted her raised with Scientology, however Katie did not want it to be exclusively Scientology. In at number 8, Wendy Williams and Kevin Hunter. The relationship between these two have been discussed in tabloids for years, with many people exposing Kevin over the years for cheating on Wendy. The talk show host filed from divorce from the TV producer in April of 2019 after almost 22 years of marriage. This came after it was revealed that Kevin Hunter got his mistress pregnant. Wendy spoke about the divorce in an interview where she said, quote, Kevin had a major indiscretion and he will have to deal with that for the rest of his life. An indiscretion that I will not deal with. Never thought that I would be in this position. The divorce has not only been hard on Wendy, but sadly on their son as well, Kevin Hunter Jr. In at number 7, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You guys already know about this train wreck, but I will sum it up for those of you that don't. Depp and Heard first met in 2009 on the set of The Rum Diary, which they starred in together. They married in 2015 in a private ceremony, but Heard filed for divorce only a year later after publicly accusing Johnny Depp of harming her. In the years that followed, the two were embroiled in a multi-year court battle that exposed tons of things about the relationship. Firstly, we learned that Amber had been verbally and physically harmful to Johnny in their relationship, which raised tons of questions about the legitimacy of her accusations. Then we learned that she would do insane things to test Johnny's temper, like once where she defecated in their bed, which the maid found later. Sadly, as of now, it seems that Amber is winning all their battles in court, but hopefully the truth will come out. And at number 6, Kristen Cavallari and Jay Cutler. Cavallari and Cutler announced their plans to separate via Instagram in April 2020 after marrying in 2013. Cutler listed their date of separation as April 21st of 2020, while Cavallari stated that their relationship ended on April 7th, which made the legal proceedings even more drawn out. The split seemed like it was nasty from the start, but things got worse when Cavallari accused Cutler of, quote, inappropriate marital conduct in the divorce filing, aka cheating. Then Cutler requested joint custody of their kids while Cavallari wanted sole custody. During the messy divorce, a source said, quote, the word around Nashville is that they really just don't like each other anymore. They would accuse each other of cheating, but nothing really solid. They were both very stubborn and bump heads a lot. Neither backs down. And apparently before the split, the two were fighting often.
Number 5, Kenan Thompson and Christina Evangeline. On April 7th, a report announced longtime SNL star Kenan Thompson and his wife Christina Evangeline had decided to divorce after being separated for more than a year. The pair, who remain amicable, share 2 daughters, Georgia and Gianna, and the two first married in November 2011 at the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta. Nice spot. Sorry it didn't work out. Number 4. Thomas Ian Nicholas and Colette Marino. American Pie star Thomas Ian Nicholas, 3 first names, nice, and Colette Marino, or house music artist DJ Colette, are getting divorced. Marino filed for divorce with the cause being irreconcilable differences. A solid reason, I'd say. They listed the date of separation as September 2019. The couple wed in 2007 and shared 2 children, a son named Nolan and a daughter named Zoa.
At number 3, we have comedian John Mulaney and his ex-wife and artist Anne-Marie Tendler. The couple shared a 6-year-long relationship and a dog prior to the end of their romantic ties. John would very frequently make jokes regarding their relationship during his comedy stand-up routines, including one in 2018 where he referred to Anne as a dynamite female dog during his Kid Gorgeous special. We'll never know if the jokes on top of the other BS became too much for Anne in the end, but the pair officially headed for Splitsville in July. Their divorce announcement followed a few short months after John was admitted into rehab for substance abuse back in December 2020. After this, he would go on to date actress Olivia Munn, where he continued to stir up relationship news drama. The most shocking thing for fans of Olivia and John was the announcement of their then soon-to-be welcome child, born in November 2021. John has headlined just about every pop culture news outlet you can think of nowadays for the way he broke things off with Anne. At number 2, we have formerly married twosome Chris Pratt and Anna Faris. These 2 public icons are very heavily part of Hollywood's former it couples because everybody loved them. However, even with this, it seems that there were a few fans who weren't all that surprised by their eventual separation. In 2018, their divorce was announced from the original marriage in 2009, and Anna has been vocal about feeling as if she was forced to split with Chris after 8 years of marriage, but she has since re-fallen in love with cinematographer Michael Barrett. Chris is currently married to Hollywood royalty Catherine Schwarzenegger. Still, Anna and Chris first met during a 2007 table read where they're sharing starring roles in the film Take Me Home Tonight. In the end though, Anna became angry over fans' reactions to her split with Chris and the picture-perfect family image she tried her hardest to create that crumbled right before her eyes. At number 1, we have the world's least shocking couple to divorce to date, Miss Kim Kardashian and her rapping ex-husband Kanye West. With the spiral both their relationship and Kanye himself was headed into, it wasn't a shock to Kimye fans when the former celebrity couple decided to part ways. It seems non-shocking ends to marriages run deep in the Kardashian family too, as of course we need to honorably mention Khloe's failed marriage with her previous partner Lamar Odom. Still, Kim and Kanye have been dubbed as today's incoming split just bound to happen, according to fans and viewers of the Keeping Up with the Kardashian reality show. Apparently their fate was set in stone as far back as them tying the knot in 2014, according to many. Reportedly, the once powerhouse duo constantly butted heads in their later years due to their rising careers and demanding schedules. Words of Kim once stated, "He should have a wife that supports his every move and travels with him and does everything, and I can't." This was back during the series finale of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where she cried during her confession. Ironically enough, Kim was also the one who filed for divorce back in February 2021. She later explained to Vogue that her reasoning for them separating was actually because she made the decision to put herself first. Quote, "Even if that created changes and caused my divorce, I think it's important to be honest with yourself about what really makes you happy." And while Kimye once held the title of star-crossed lovers in the beginning, Kanye is still intent on making their marriage work once more, even with Kim wanting to move on. Since then, Kanye had posted a number of direct Instagram uploads for Kim, with one stating, "God please bring our family back together," from a since deleted post. However, Kim seemed content with continuing forward, as she was soon romantically linked to and later confirmed to be dating her now ex-boyfriend Pete Davidson. I'm sure you know how these events have played out at this point, and if not, well, you're in for quite the wild ride.
In at number 10, Tish and Billy Ray Cyrus. Tish and Billy Ray are getting divorced for the 3rd time, just 5 years after they called off their 2nd divorce. Tish is the person who filed for divorce on April 6th after 29 years of marriage. The couple share 5 kids together, including the legendary Miley Cyrus. In 2010, Billy Ray was first to file for divorce, but called it off after a few months. Tish then filed for her first time in 2013, but the couple reconciled just 10 days after that. So there is a chance this 3rd time might also be called off, or there's a chance the couple has unanimously decided that they should no longer be together. In documents obtained by People, Tish cited irreconcilable differences in the legal documents and revealed that her and Billy Ray have not lived together for more than 2 years. The couple released a joint statement saying in part, quote, "It is after 30 years, 5 amazing children, and a lifetime of memories, we have decided to go our separate ways. Not with sadness, but with love in our hearts. We've grown up together, raised a family we can be so proud of, and it's now time to create our own paths." In at number 9, Tom Schwartz and Katie Maloney. As a huge fan of Vanderpump Rules, this news is incredibly heartbreaking, but not all that shocking after last season. After 12 years of being together, the couple have announced that they will be divorcing. After reading the statements, it's clear that this was Katie's decision, and Tom is having a hard time coping with his new normal. In her Instagram statement, Katie wrote, quote, "After 12 years on an adventure through life together, Tom and I are ending our marriage. This ending is not met with resentment or animosity, no sides to choose. We have deep admiration for one another that will always remain, and we cherish our friendship." Tom wrote in his caption that he, quote, "fully respects Katie's decision and that it would be far sadder if she decided to stay with me while not happy." After revealing more about the reasoning, Katie has admitted that she didn't feel supported by Tom and felt that he never truly had her back. And after watching last season, it's clear to me that Schwartz has some growing up to do and needs to prioritize his wife over friends like Tom Sandoval. If you've watched Vanderpump Rules and you saw last season where they're fighting about the bar, please let me know your thoughts below. It is one of my favorite reality shows, mostly because I've just grown up watching it, and I'm so invested in their relationships, and it's so sad to see that these two are splitting up. In at number 8, Shailene Woodley and Aaron Rodgers. Shailene Woodley and Aaron Rodgers had an incredibly fast-paced relationship. Before the public even knew they were a couple, Shailene and Aaron were engaged. It seemed to everyone that the pair were soulmates and were going to be together forever, until it was announced that Shailene broke off their engagement. The former couple first met in 2020 and soon sparked romance rumors. Rodgers confirmed the relationship during his acceptance speech for the NFL Honors Award, thanking his fiancée. Woodley confirmed the relationship as well on an episode of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, showing off her engagement ring. The pair briefly got back together after ending their engagement to try and work things out, but sources say that Shailene is now 100% done. A source said, quote, "Shailene tried to give it another shot and was spending time with Aaron, but she quickly saw that everything was on his terms and nothing was going to change. There was no reason to continue and she's done with it." And at number 7, Garrett Hedlund and Emma Roberts. After an incredibly messy on and off again relationship with Evan Peters, Emma Roberts quickly moved on to Garrett Hedlund. Then, out of nowhere, the couple announced they were expecting a child together. The pair seemed very happy and excited for their child, but shortly after the birth of Rhodes in 2020, the couple has split. An insider said of their split, quote, "It's sad and they are trying their best to co-parent. It's been hard." The couple started dating in 2019, welcoming Rhodes in December of 2020. At the time of the birth, Emma posted to Instagram writing, quote, "Thank you 2020 for getting one thing right. Our bright light Rhodes Robert Hedlund." And at number 6, Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. This power couple was one that seemed like they would stay together forever because of how highly Momoa spoke of Bonet in the press. But sadly, on January 12th, the couple announced in a joint statement that they would be ending their marriage, saying, quote, "We have all felt the squeeze and changes of these transformational times. A revolution is unfolding and our family is of no exception. Feeling and growing from the seismic shifts occurring. And so we share our family news that we are parting ways in marriage." After the split, Momoa was seen living in a van that was camped out on his friend's property. There were also rumors that the pair might be getting back together, but those were false. While talking about these rumors, Momoa said, quote, "Oh no, we're not back together. We're family, you know. We have 2 beautiful children together. We're family forever." Halfway at number 5, Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon. The pair started their love story in 2005 at the Teen Choice Awards where they met. 3 years later, he starred in her music video, Bye Bye, and they got together quickly after. They married in 2008 and welcomed twins together in 2011, named Monroe and Moroccan. Fans were shocked in 2014 when they announced that they were divorcing. TMZ reported that Cannon filed for divorce, leaving fans everywhere wondering what went wrong. It was revealed after that they were living separate lives for months before the news came out. Cannon later revealed in an interview with Wendy Williams, quote, "I feel like when 2 people are in a relationship, it should be about growth. So when you are at a point where there's no longer any growth and you're not bettering each other, I felt like it was probably best, especially for our children." There were reports that the divorce was pretty messy, but thankfully they have been cordial ever since and are co-parenting beautifully. In at number 4, Yolanda Foster and David Foster. If any of you guys watched The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you know what a mess this relationship was. The pair tied the knot in November of 2011, and from what we saw on the show, Yolanda was a loving and caring wife who put her husband first. She was even criticized on the show for how much she did for David. However, in early 2012, she was diagnosed with Lyme disease and was not herself for many years after, with the disease taking a toll on her physical and mental capacity. In 2015, the couple divorced, and Yolanda revealed on the show how blindsided that she was by everything, with her speaking openly about how she believes her medical condition was the reason for the split.
One source from David's camp said after, quote, David and his family think Yolanda just loved the attention of being sick. They believe she's exaggerating her conditions, and they point out that she's never gotten a legit diagnosis or a second or third opinion. And at number 3, Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards. The couple first met while shooting the movie Good Advice in 2000, but they started dating later after Denise guest starred on Charlie's sitcom Spin City in 2001. They got married in June of 2002, but by 2005, they had split. Denise filed for divorce while Charlie was struggling with drug and alcohol issues, and the divorce was plastered all over the tabloids because of Charlie's reckless behavior at the time. Denise opened up about how hard the divorce was while she was a housewife on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, saying, quote, a lot of people have an impression of me being wild and crazy, but Charlie was sober when we got married. So we were not this swinging couple that people might assume. Adding, quote, when I got pregnant with Lola, things started to change rapidly. It was a very dark time and very toxic, and I filed for divorce when I was 6 months pregnant with her. But thankfully, the pair have a good relationship now. And at number 2, Jessica Simpson and Nick Leahy. Jessica and Nick were the it couple of the early 2000s. They got married in 2002 after 3 years of dating and showcased their short-lived marriage on a reality TV show before it quickly ended in 2006. The show was called Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica. Leahy even admitted on the show that they didn't know much about each other when they got married, and they would clash over things in the show constantly. And by the 3rd and final season, it was pretty much clear that they were going to be breaking up. Nick said about the show after, quote, it was among the dumber ideas I think I've ever seen executed. It got to a place where it was so invasive, so it became a problem. And at number 1, Reese Witherspoon and Ryan Phillippe. These two got together and had children when they were really young. They met at Reese's 21st birthday party and they got engaged shortly after. The pair got married in 1999 and Reese got pregnant before their wedding as well. In 2002, the couple started having problems and went to couples therapy to try and fix it. But when that didn't work, they divorced in 2006. The couple admitted their age was a huge factor in the split. In 2017, Reese spoke on the split, saying, quote, I got married when I was 23 and I had 2 kids by the time I was 27. So I don't know, sometimes it's good to know yourself. She says that she would not change things, but she now tells her daughter that 25 is when you really start to know yourself.